Welcome back to the channel. I'm Peter Mokri, a Dallas-based DP, photographer, gaffer with a 1-ton grip van full of aperture lighting, and I am available for hire. Creating an 8x8 book light on wheels is simple and easy. I'm going to go over all the parts needed and how to set it up so you could have an efficient book light that can be moved around in space quickly for multiple setups. Gear links are in the description below. Let's get into it. One of the key components in this fast booklight build is a rolling stand. I went with the Matthews Hollywood Baby Jr. Triple Riser. I already had this stand. I love Matthews stuff. I keep all my stands the same just for consistency. So that's the base. I had 2 shot bags. What are the advantages of shot bags over sandbags? Shot bags are 3 times heavier than sandbags, so they take up a third of the space. So space savings is huge, and that's why I choose them, because I could carry a lot more on the van without taking up much space. So they look real puny there, but those are actually 20 pounds each. Not only is this system fast because it has wheels and it's easy to move around, but it's also fast to set up. That's a Matthews double header with 2 grip heads attached to it. This gives me the flexibility to just have one stand, but also gives me a lot of flexibility when building it out on how it looks. So you could see the Matthews grip head is right there up top, and it's attached to the Matthews double header. And there's also another grip head down below. Really simple setup. It pops on and off. You could always have this built out already and throw it on. Next, a crucial point, Modern Studio 1-inch ear. This is from their overhead frame setup. So instead of using the other components, I'm just going to T-bar everything. So I pop these guys into place. Like I said, they're a 1-inch setup. So you use 1-inch square tube. This is an 8x8 setup. So you could use a solid 8x8 piece of square tube, but I use the breakdown frames, which are split in half. They're easier to transport. They're very portable and simple to do. So it's a Modern Studio 1-inch breakdown frame. And that makes it real simple to set up, but also gives me the flexibility because now I have 4-foot tube as well for situations where I'm only doing like a 4-foot setup. So it makes it real simple and flexible. Now it's time for some opinions, guys. So I'm using an 8x8 piece of diffusion. What would you choose in this situation? We're making a book light, so we're going to have an ultra bounce. Would you use magic cloth? Would you use silk? Would you use a frost, grid, artificial silk, muslin? What's your choice on diffusion for a setup like this? My diffusion of choice was an 8x8 quarter grid from Canvas Grip. You can't forget honorable mention for the grip clamps. I like to go with the plastic ones, and the reason is they don't puncture or damage the diffusion materials easily. If you get someone inexperienced and you give them a metal one, they're going to put holes in all your rags. So I like to avoid that. Then we put up the 8x8 black and white bounce from Canvas Grip. It's white on one side, which is our ultra bounce side, and black on the other side, which it can be used as a negative or a cutter in certain situations as well. And that's it. It's built, real easy to maneuver. So now I'm gonna boom it up. Adjusting the opening on this book light setup is very simple. The grip heads actually pivot, so I can make the opening on the left or right, or even make both sides parallel to each other fairly quickly. But the biggest advantage of this setup is that it can be moved so easily. One person, you can see I'm just moving it around, fine tuning it, adjusting it, and everything moves together. So here's a detailed look of how everything is set up. You have the double header, the grip heads, and the ears. Here's a closer look of how it all lays out and comes together. It's really simple to set up. It's not complicated at all. And a lot of this stuff you could utilize in other ways. Many of you already have grip heads, gobo heads, and things like that in your kit. So just adding a double header and an ear and maybe some square tube is not much more to be able to have a kit that's very versatile. I opted for a 1200D on a Matthews Lowboy stand. This gave me flexibility to move the light around a lot more, and also had a smaller footprint that didn't really stick out outside of the book light footprint. But it also gave me the capability to fine tune where the light was hitting and kind of pan it left to right to give more intensity to one side of the book light or the other. And this is an example of what it looked like. That's me sitting in, and then You can see I have a book light, hair light, and then the accent lights on the back to give it a really nice look. And this is with the quarter grid. Here's another setup. You can see the light is actually on a rolling stand. So I have a rolling book light, but I also have a rolling light that makes it real quick and easy. And I was actually able to slide them in together. There were many times where I grabbed the rolling book light and the rolling light together and pushed them to the next shooting scene or area, making it really efficient when you're, one man G&E team, or even when you're a one-man band. Here's another example of what the book light setup can produce. It's amazing light. It's very efficient to set up, easy to move around, and gives you a beautiful look. Speaking of efficiency, time is money. So being efficient on set is very important, especially if you're running a G&E team on your own. I need it to be quick and nimble, and this setup offers that. I have the ability to move from one spot to another quickly and efficiently and make changes as necessary, and that was very crucial. Many people have asked, why don't you just set up a softbox and you're good to go? There's no need to do a book light. And you may be right, but I always forget my 8x8 softbox at home, so I end up just doing the book light instead. Do you think you could implement this setup into your workflow? Would it be beneficial to have? Now, you don't have to do an 8x8. You can do a 4x4. You can also do a 6x6. You can also make the bars parallel, put skirts on both sides, and now you have a giant softbox you can use as well. That's a softbox book light, a whole combination with no spill coming off the side. If you want to see this book light in action or some more sample footage, check out the videos at the end. Thanks so much for watching.